Hello, everybody. Happy Saturday to you. This is Wade. Okay, so we're on to another movie commentary, and since we're still in Shark Week officially, I know it's Saturday, so we're getting down to the wire. I figured I would do another commentary on another shark movie, and today it's going to be on Jaws 2. So I'm watching my copy on DVD because that's the only copy I have. I don't have it on VHS or Blu-ray, or I don't have it on streaming either. It's probably out there on a streaming service somewhere. So if that's how you're going to watch it, that's awesome. I've got my copy of Jaws 2 synced up to the very beginning of the Universal logo, the older Universal logo, not the newer looking one. So it's just to where you see the stars in space. We haven't zoomed into the Earth and the Universal uh, title yet. So I'll give you guys just a couple of seconds and to get your copy synced up with mine if you're watching along with me. Again, you don't have to watch along with me, but if you're doing that, that's great too. So I'll just wait a few seconds. So I hope all you guys are doing fantastic out there. Uh, the weather, I've been out already. It's not quite as hot. It's been like 104, 108, and it's supposed to hit 109 here in Texas today. I hope it does not get that high, but who knows? And it kind of acts like it's going to rain outside, so even better. So, okay, so you should all be synced up with me at the beginning of the older Universal logo. I'm going to give you a countdown. And once I say the word play, go ahead and hit play on your remote or your device. So 3, 2, 1, play. All right, Universal Studios, an MCA company. I wonder if MCA still owns Universal. I'm not sure if Universal is just its own entity now, or it's owned by MCA or some other company. I really like this opening compared to the first one. It's more classical. I like the music and I like what they're going for. It's a beautiful opening, and it doesn't open with the original Jaws theme, the dun 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 dun. No, it opens with like this just kind of slow, this classical musical cue that I think works. Um, so there it is, Jaws 2, the title card with all the fish swimming around. And there are these two divers. They actually filmed this part uh, in Catalina. And I think that's just off the coast of California. They filmed this there because uh, they originally tried to shoot it wherever the main production took place. And the reason they went back to Catalina is because the water wasn't as choppy and they were able to really get a smooth shot with these divers. Now, these divers are looking for and there it is, the wreckage of the Orca, Quint's boat from the first movie. Just a really beautiful opening. So a little bit about my history with this film. Like I said, I think the first Jaws movie I saw, of course, I only saw bits and pieces of it as I was growing up. And the same thing with this one, though I don't remember. I know it was one of these two that I actually caught bits and pieces of first. I don't remember if it was the first one or this one. But I saw this one all the way through about the same time that I saw the first Jaws when I was recovering after my reconstructive jaw surgery. Because I was pretty much, I didn't have to stay in bed for 7 weeks, but I had to like just really, really take it easy. Like I couldn't go out and play sports. I couldn't go over to friends' houses and stuff, which I did, but my mom was very leery of that. Um, okay, and that camera, that's going to come into play later. These divers just got attacked by the new shark that's out there. And they had an underwater camera, and they were just taking pictures of the wreckage of the orca. And when they got attacked, as the camera fell to the bottom of the ocean, as it hit the bottom, it went off several times, and it took several shots, and one will definitely come into play later on in this film. Okay, so the main portion of this film took place in Martha's Vineyard again for filming, but it also moved down to Florida, and of course the studio back in California, and then uh, Catalina. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. But yeah, I couldn't play sports or anything like that. Did go over to a couple of my friends' houses. Of course, we didn't do very much because I couldn't do very much. Um, but yeah, I saw this film all the way through about the same time I saw Jaws 1. So this film, it came out in 1978, and it is classified as a horror thriller adventure film. And it is not directed by Steven Spielberg. They initially wanted him to come back, but after all his trouble in the first Jaws, he just said he couldn't do it. He had to get away and go do something else. So they had several directors come in, but the main director of this film, who got it off the ground, pretty much got things running, and ultimately completed the film. His name was Zanuck, and it was co-written by Carl Gottlieb, who actually had a hand in writing the script with Steven Spielberg for the first film, though he didn't want to take credit for it. Now they're opening this new Holiday Inn hotel on Amity Island, so we're back in Amity, and that band, it's a high school band. That is an actual high school band that they paid the school and the director, and they probably paid the kids too, to come in and play these musical cues for this sequence. Act as if you've been here the whole time. Oh, how do I do that? Just act bored. I've had to do that quite a few times in my life, places I didn't want to go. Oh, there's their youngest son, Sean. He's grown up a little bit since the first film. This film, I believe it takes place 3, maybe 4 years after the events of the first film. So the characters are older, the kids are older. Um, So yeah, this is more of a horror film than an adventure film like the first one, because it's mainly about this killer shark out there that's, just randomly uh, killing people and hunting people down. And we'll see later on in the film, it's mainly the kids who it's hunting down. So once again, this film stars Roy Scheider as Police Chief Martin Brody, with Lorraine Gary as his wife, Ellen Brody, and Murray Hamilton reprising his role as Mayor Larry Vaughn. This is probably, or it is considered, the best sequel in the Jaws franchise. It has its fan base, but there's a lot of people who didn't like it. Uh, but there's a lot of people out there who actually say it's a really good sequel, and I think it's a good sequel. I think they could have done some things differently. Um, but I wasn't on the production team. Hell, I wasn't even born yet when they were filming this movie. So, um, you know, I think they did well. So when Jaws 2 came out, it was briefly the highest grossing sequel in history up until that time. But then a week or so later, Rocky 2 was released in 1979, and then uh, Rocky 2 surpassed it. So, wow. So they're at this party, the kids and the parents, and uh, to celebrate the grand opening of the new Holiday Inn Amity Island Hotel. Did your mom make the punch, Michael? No, why? Good, because it's terrible. I'm I'm with that. Of course, I'm not. I've never been really a punch drinker like at parties and stuff. I can't stand punch. I think it's disgusting. Here, the kind of the geeky nerd kids, I can kind of relate to them, though I wasn't a, a full blown geek or nerd. Of course, there's probably some people out there who would say otherwise, but fuck those people. Uh, I they're looking at the girls the other guys are dancing with, and girls were never into me, never. And there was always some girls that I liked, but they were never into me. That's why I think I'll probably end up never getting married, because I've never been able to hit it off with the ladies. I guess I'm kind of a loner in this life. I love the tagline of this film. Just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water. They said this tagline has become one of the most famous in film history and has been parodied and homaged several times. I could actually see that, just like the in space, no one can hear you scream from Alien. Okay, we're getting our first shot of the bay, the harbor, and we're fixing to get a very important shot. It's a pretty lighthouse. Okay, there's the movement. There he is. Famous shot of the fin coming up out of the water. He's like, "Hello, Amity, I'm here." That shot, just for a second, it reminded me of the tagline from Alien 3, "The bitch is back." The shark is back. So Jeffrey Kramer, who plays Jeff Hendricks, one of Chief Brody's top deputies, uh, when Janet Schwartz took over, he was not listed as cast in the film, and so he asked some of the other producers and stuff. He's like, "Hey, where's Jeffrey Kramer, who played Jeff Hendricks? I like that character." He's like, "He should be in this film." And they said, "Well, the other directors didn't want him." So he's like, "Well, I do. So call him up and say we're going to have him play a pretty big part in this film." And so they called him up, and he gladly returned to the production of Jaws 2, which is good. I like that character as well. He played a character in Halloween 2 with Jamie Lee Curtis and Donald Pleasance, but I don't remember who he played or where his scene comes in at. I'll have to rewatch Halloween 2. So these scenes of these teenagers on their sailboats uh, during the conception of the film and when they were writing the script, they're like, we want it to be kind of a a fun film and revolve around these kids, uh, like oh, I forgot how they put it, but they said, how kids in high school like to cruise around in their cars and everything, and they're like, what if we did something like that, but we did it with them on the water, like in sailboats, and that's how the whole sailboat um, sequences and shots and scenes came into this movie because they wanted to make it like they're cruising, but they're cruising on sailboats on the water, which was an ingenious idea. I probably would have never thought of something like that, and it works. Uh, they don't flesh out the kids' characters too much, except for Michael Brody and Sean and maybe a few others. Uh, but most of them were just two-dimensional cardboard cutout characters, which are just like, whatever. Uh, this score for Jaws 2 was done once again by John Williams, and he really expanded on the score of Jaws, and it really gives it this feeling of just, hanging out, these kids on the water, having fun, sailing on their sailboats. He was really able to bring some new stuff to it, and his new stuff is great. They're having water balloon fights as they're sailing on their sailboats out in the water. Oh, oh, this is funny. I think this is the yeah, this is the scene. So all these people are in Chief Brody's office talking to him about something, and there's this this father's complaining that this girl who lives next to him, his son's bedroom window faces uh, this girl's bedroom window, and that every morning and every night as she gets out of the shower, she's teasing this little boy, and he says she's dancing and teasing him. Dancing. You want to check this out for me? Hendrix is like, dance? Oh. Oh, I've always wanted to do that. Parasailing. That looks like fun. Though I wouldn't want to do it if I knew there was a killer shark out there. There are a couple of shots that the DP got in this film that I think are just, I was like, there was no need for that. And we'll get to those a little bit later. I like the colors of that sail that the guy uh, has that he's parasailing with. It's the country of our, or the country, Jesus, the colors of our great country, red, white, and blue. Go USA. there was some shark footage uh, that was used of real sharks, uh, just a few shots, not a lot, that were shot by Ron and Valerie Taylor, who shot a few scenes for the of live action sharks for the first film, and they used some shots of real live sharks or real live shark footage in this film, and it just showed one. It really blends together pretty well. You know, it's hard to tell uh, the fake shark from the real ones. I mean, you really have to really pay attention if you want to see like, oh, hey, that's the fake shark, or hey, those are the real sharks. I mean, that's how well it blends together. Okay, one of the big scenes is coming up of the mom and her daughter skiing out on the ocean. That girl is so pretty. The girl who plays Tina Wilcox. I think her name in real life is. Let's see if I can find it here. Ann Dusenberry. I think that's who that girl's real name is. Ah, damn it, doesn't have a picture. Crap. They were actually, this is one of the first big sequences they filmed for the movie, and uh, as important as this sequence was, during the filming and setting up of this scene right here of the shark attacking this mom and the skier, uh, it took maybe a week, maybe a little bit longer, uh, to film this entire sequence. But as it was being filmed, the script was being kind of polished off, and things were being rewritten, and part of the script wasn't done. So Carl Gottlieb was trying to uh, finish the script and give the filmmakers and the actors, you know, a script they could work with and shoot from. And during this scene, that's what was going on. So, like the production of the original film, uh, the production of Jaws 2 had its troubles as well. And it's probably a good thing Spielberg didn't direct this film, though it probably would have been a better film if he had of. Uh, but I mean, after all the trouble he experienced on the first one, he probably would have gone bonkers. I know I would have. So the first director for the film was John D. Hancock, and he proved to be unsuitable for the action in this film, and he was replaced by Schwark. Okay, so the shark just got the skier girl. Now the mom's looking for her. Here comes the shark. It's trying to get to the mom. I never understood this right here. I mean, maybe she's trying to kill the shark, but instead of trying to pour gasoline on the shark, she pours it all over herself. So she ends up really killing herself. And this is how the shark gets its burned face look, its scar faced look, was this sequence right here, because the shark got burned, and because a little bit of the gasoline got on the shark, and then of course when the woman shot the flare gun, it sparked, and that's how the shark got its burns from. Oh, I'd love to live on the ocean, not on the ocean, but on the beach. And now Brody's getting suspicious and worried. All his fears are starting to come back. Oh, I forgot to mention a while ago when they were in the police station talking about the dancing scene. Hendrix uh, and the dive team were able to recover that camera from the missing divers at the very first of the movie. So they've got the camera now, and that camera and its images will come into play here a little bit later. I'm cold. I'm bored. There's a scene that reminds me of a scene from the 1998 Roland Emmerich Godzilla when Godzilla's pulling the fishing boats. This police boat that Hendrix and this guy that's helping him are in, something just pulled them back and splashed water over the stern because they're caught on to something because they're dragging the bottom of the ocean. And they're fixing to find out what pulled them back. And that's another thing that'll come into play later is that power line. Sorry, guys. I hope the microphone didn't pick that up. A loud truck just drove by, and it was pretty loud. So if y'all heard that truck, I apologize. So, a little bit about the development and writing of this film. Universal wanted a sequel to Jaws pretty in, or sorry, let me start that over. Got my thoughts mixed up. Universal wanted a sequel to Jaws early into the success of the original film, and the producers Brown and Zanuck realized that if they didn't produce the sequel, that somebody else would do it themselves, and they preferred to be in charge of it because they were very protective of, uh, the first film and what was to come. When they did start coming up with ideas for the second film, they talked to Steven Spielberg, and he didn't want to do it, but he had an idea. If he did do it, what he wanted to do. So the teenagers went sailing and they ended up on an island just off the main island where this lighthouse is and found a dead beached whale with huge bite marks bitten out of this whale. And after the explosion that killed those two people due to the shark, this is the next day, and now Chief Brody is looking at this. He's almost certain as to what was the cause of this animal dying and being beached on the land.
Whales now?
That's what we're here to find out.
I can't hear you through the whisper. 111 centimeters.
111 centimeters.
68. 68.
I haven't had some experience with sharks.
Really?
Yeah, I think a great white might have done this.
Carrier precarious? What makes you think there might be one in these waters?
Well, it's obvious that a big fish took a bite out of this big fish.
This is a mammal, not a fish.
It's unclear with me. Is it a shark bite, isn't it?
Possibly. Then again, the killer whale would have to be a shark of considerable size.
Look, we know that sharks are attracted by blood and thrashing about.
And sound.
Sound?
Sound. Like sonar or radar. They hone in on unusual sound. Irregular sound. Almost any rhythmic low frequency vibration.
Sorry, I'm not talking a whole lot during this scene, guys. This is one of my favorite scenes of the film.
Mr. Hendrick, will you take this down, please?
No more, sir. Okay, and I'd like you to do that. Not my phone. Yeah, but Andy will take it back. You don't understand. Mike, for Christ's sake, give me a break here, will you?
Issue attacks. It's either a great white or another killer whale.
I'd like to know which.
Well, it's impossible for you to tell with a body like this. This animal has been ashore for 10 or 12 hours and drifting for a day at least. Every little nibble in the sea's taken a bite.
I mean, the dolphins can take. I mean, they simply. You don't think that the shark was destroyed, that another shark could come in.
Sharks don't take things personally, though.
Jack? No.
I always liked that line. Sharks don't take things personally, Mr. Brody. So now he's just about convinced that there's another great white, a Carcharodon carcharias, out there wreaking havoc on their island again. Anyway, what I was saying about Steven Spielberg's idea for the second film, he he had the idea to make the sequel about the USS Indianapolis story that was relayed in the first film by Quint, but they felt that that was just too far from what they had done in the first film, and they wanted to try and stick with these characters and closer to what they had already established. And there was another writer in there somewhere who proposed this outlandish thing. I can't remember really what it was, and it doesn't talk about it here and what I'm going off of. that they said it was just so outlandish, it was incredible, and they decided not to pursue it. So now Brody's gone to the mayor, Larry Vaughn, and it's going to be the same shit, the same kind of bureaucratic nonsense that he received from the town council in the first film. Idiot. Idiot. Martin's correct. There's another shark out there, and you guys. Ugh. Politics. Fucking politics. You would think after the first incident that they would listen to him. Oh, this is one of the best scenes of the movie. So Chief Brody's driving along the beach and he sees this thing in the water, and what it is, it's a piece of the boat from the mom and the skier, and it's trying to wash up ashore, but it's not quite there yet. And so Brody's going to go out there and try to retrieve it. This scene always spooked me. Oh my God. So on the underside of that piece of the boat was the charred remains of the mom, the driver of the boat. And it scared Brody half to death. And probably would have scared anybody. This scene always intrigued me a little bit. So he's putting this sodium cyanide in, excuse me, in the bullets that he's going to put in his gun. And I'm guessing it's like if he ever got a shot at the shark that sodium cyanide would poison it and eventually kill it. But I mean, that doesn't seem like it would be enough because, he's putting just these few drops in each bullet. And with an animal as big as a shark, or that shark that they're dealing with, it'd probably take a hell of a lot more sodium cyanide to poison it and kill it. But maybe it's possible. I mean, I, I don't know.
Yeah.
So that camera's been sitting in Brody's office, and he just told Hendrix to go get it, the film in it developed, and so he says he's going to do it first thing in the morning. So pretty soon we're going to learn what that uh, camera captured. So Chief Brody tried to get in touch with Dr. Matt Hooper, and he's unavailable because he's on the research ship Aurora, which he talked about in the first film. But originally, Richard Dreyfuss didn't want to come back and do Jaws 2 unless Spielberg was directing, so that's one of the reasons they didn't bring his character back. And of course, we know why they didn't bring Quint's character back, and that's because Quint got eaten by the first shark. So Ellen knows that something's going on with Brody. So Brody found a way to get his son Mike out of the water to stop sailing, so he got him a job on the beach, which Mike didn't really want, but Brody's only doing that just because he knows there's a shark out there. This is what I was talking about right here. We're on the beach with all these people, and the director of photography got some really questionable and, in my opinion, inappropriate shots. I mean, no one wants to see that. Jesus. So, this scene coming up, Brody is on the beach in his shark watching tower. I'm sure there's a more technical or correct name for that tower, but I don't know what it's called. So he's up there making sure there's no sharks in the water, and this scene actually shows just how paranoid in such a short time that Chief Martin Brody has become. But he's right to be paranoid. So in October of '75, Spielberg told the San Francisco Film Festival that making a sequel to anything is just a cheap carny trick, and that he did not even respond to producers when they first asked him to direct Jaws 2, which he never should have said that because, I mean, he directed the sequel to Jurassic Park. He directed the Lost World Jurassic Park, which, he can't say that now. So he kind of ate his own words, but whatever. He claimed that the plot was to involve the sons of Quint and Brody hunting a new shark. That was one of his ideas besides the USS Indianapolis idea. Um, Brown said that Spielberg did not want to direct the sequel because he felt he had done the definitive shark movie, and which he had, because Jaws is nothing. I don't think in my lifetime anyway will ever beat Jaws. I mean, there have been films that have tried, but none ever measure up. Stop lying. I can't stand that guy. So the director later added that his decision was influenced by problems on the Jaws production that he faced, and he said, "I would have done the sequel if I hadn't had such a horrible time at sea on the first film." Um, okay, so Brody's still up there. And he just spotted something. He's not quite sure what it is, but he sees it's moving towards people. He's looking through his binoculars now to see what he can see. And there he goes. Everybody's like, what in the world is going on? Wow. So he took out his gun and he's running down the beach waving it because he thinks that's a shark. Wow. Oops. It's just a school of bluefish. Well, that's not going to go over well with the town and the town council.
It's okay.
And he gets all these go to hell looks. Yeah, see, this scene just pretty much confirmed his paranoia, but he knows in his heart that there's something out there. And there is. So initially, when this film got started, the producers uh, they hired John D. Hancock, and he began filming in June of 1977. However, after nearly a month of filming, the Universal and the MCA executives disliked the dark and subtle tone that the film was taking and wanted a more lighthearted and action-oriented story, which I can see where they're coming from. But the first film had its dark moments, and this film has its dark moments. But they classify this as an action, uh, thriller, horror, adventure film, and this film has a lot more horror elements and dark elements than the first film that I can see. So Brody's in his office after all that, just kind of thinking, what the hell have I done? So now he's over at the photographer and developer's place, and he's fixing to find the one picture that's going to prove his theory is correct. This scene, and then the next scene where he goes to the town hall to show the council. This is probably some of Roy Scheider's best acting scenes in this movie. I mean, he's a great actor to begin with, but I mean, wow, his performance is just awesome. There it is. There's the picture. It shows the shark. No.
Is that what it is? Sorry, I just don't see it.
Why? It's nothing.
Mind, it could be anything. Wait a minute, are you people telling me I don't know what a shark looks like? Brody, this is nothing. Seaweed, mud, something in the lens? When's my ass? You're damn right it's your ass. Now, be reasonable. Reasonable what? With you? God damn it, will you listen? Will you just listen? Be reasonable. Look, Brody, you started a panic on a public beach. You shot up the damn place. God knows where you could have injured. Now, what if somebody decides to sue us? Did you ever stop to think about that? It could ruin us. You don't have to worry about being sued. If this turns out to be what I think it is, because there won't be anybody here. Now, Mark, let's not... Let's not what, Larry? What? Oh, Jesus, Larry. No, come on. Let's just forget it. He won't listen. It's obvious the man has made up his mind. But your wife, I made up my mind. But I'm telling you, and I'm telling everybody at this table, that that's a shark. And I know what a shark looks like because I've seen one up close. And you better do something about this one, because I don't intend to go through that hell again.
Yeah.
Right. Could you wait here for a minute? For what? Please just have a seat. All we need to look at the picture and make up our mind. All right. I'll have a seat. For what it's worth. Gentlemen.
There was an extended version of this scene where they all get up and go into another room to examine the picture, and they end up firing Brody as chief of police. But there's one man who holds out hope, or who doesn't vote to get rid of him, and that's Mayor Larry Vaughn, which I think they should have kept that part of the scene. I think it would have made for more dramatic part of the film, I guess you could say. I never understood this scene because these high school kids are in a bar. When are 17-year-olds allowed in a bar that serves beer and alcohol? They should have like had another type of hangout for the kids and not one that's an actual bar. Typical teenage girl. Hmm. So Chief Brody just arrived home after being fired, which that's a decision the town will regret. So Hancock, he ran into trouble with Sid Sheinberg, who was I believe he was president of Universal, and Sid Sheinberg's wife is actually Lorraine Gary, Martin Brody, and so they ran into some trouble, and they may have had a falling out. I'm not sure. But Hancock just couldn't really get the film going the way the producers wanted, and so he was let go, and that's when they went to some other directors, and they even at one point asked Spielberg to consider returning to direct the sequel, but Spielberg couldn't do it because he was working on Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and that's when they went and got Jeanette Schwartz, and it went from there. So yeah, and poor Brody. I always felt for him in these scenes because he knows that bureaucracy is putting people's lives in danger, and now there's nothing he can do about it. Yeah, I know. Sucky feeling, isn't it, when you get fired from a job? Been there, done that. So a little bit about the casting. Roy Scheider, who was the got top billing in this film, he reluctantly returned to reprise his role as Chief Martin Brody. In 1977, he had quit the role of Michael Vronsky in The Deer Hunter 2 weeks before the start of filming because of creative differences. Scheider was contracted to Universal at the time for a three-picture deal, but the studio offered to forgive his failure to fulfill his contractual obligation if he would agree to appear in Jaws 2. Oh yeah, you think you're going to get laid, Michael? Dream on. I don't think this guy who played Michael ever acted again, and which I'm sorry to say, but he's such a poor actor. I hate his performance in this movie. It's so bad. The little boy, Sean, is a much better actor than he is. Better be nice to him. Oh, how funny. So they're at the dock. Michael and his little brother and all their friends are getting ready to go out sailing on the water, unaware that there's something out there waiting for them. You're always in the way. So, as far as Roy Scheider is concerned, as far as the cast goes, at first he heavily resisted the film, claiming that there was nothing new to create. that the people would be watching the film to see the shark and not him. According to his biographer, Scheider was so desperate to be relieved from the role that he pleaded insanity and went crazy in the Beverly Hills Hotel. However, he was given an attractive financial package appearing in Jaws 2. He had quadrupled his base salary from the first film and negotiated points, a percentage of the film's net profits. The Star newspaper reported that Scheider received $500,000 for 12 weeks' worth, plus $35,000 for each additional week that the schedule ran over. So that's a pretty nice chunk of change. I wouldn't be complaining too much, Roy. You got a lot of money out of it. But despite his reluctance, Scheider pledged to do the best job that he could. And to be honest, I think his performance is great in the first film, but I think his performance, I think he really steps up his performance in this film, and I enjoy his performance more in this film than I do in the first one. He pledged to do the best job he could and wanting to make Brody believable. However, the atmosphere was tense on set that he often argued with Schwark, and on one occasion, Scheider complained in front of extras that Schwark was wasting time with technical issues, and the extras were being ignored, and so were the principal actors. So a meeting was called with the two and David Brown and Verna Fields, in which Scheider and Schwark were encouraged to settle their differences. And during that meeting, their discussion became heated, and a physical fight broke out between the two, in which Brown and Fields broke up. So, wow. And if you guys don't know who Verna Fields is, she was actually the film editor for Steven Spielberg on the first Jaws film. And she actually won the Academy Award for Best Film Editing for Jaws. And because of that, she got a new position with the studio. When she was cutting the film for Jaws, they had an interesting nickname for her as she was cutting the film. Steven Spielberg called her Mother Cutter. So these divers are they're diving for lobsters, and so they're underwater and they're fixing to have an encounter with the great white shark. I've always wanted to go scuba diving, but I've never had the opportunity to. Maybe one day. That's on my bucket list of things that I want to do before I die. No! Shit! Oh, it scared me. And there's Scarface Shark. Scared that guy so bad that he surfaced way too quickly. Wow. So he went into shock after they got him up on the boat. He has an embolism. And there goes the shark. And now he's headed for the sailboats. So after the fight between Schwark and Scheider, the rift was articulated in written correspondence. In a letter to Schwark, Scheider wrote that working with Janet Schwark is knowing he will never say he's sorry for ever admitting he overlooked something well enough of that shit for me, he says in the written letter. He requested apology from the director for not consulting him, and Schwark's reply focused on completing the film to the best possible standard. So you saw at the beginning of the film, during the opening of the Holiday Inn, Amity Shores, there was a high school band, and it was from the Gulf Breeze High School. And I believe that's when they were filming down in Florida. Let me see if I can find out where this high school's at. Yeah, in Gulf Breeze, Florida. So that part of the film was shot down there. Many extras were recruited from Gulf Breeze High School. The students were paid $3 per hour, which was at that time well above the minimum wage at the time, which was $2.65 an hour. And reveled in being able to miss classes. The casting director, Sherry Rhodes, requested members of the Gulf Breeze band to perform as the Amity High School band, seen in the early scene in the film showing the opening of course, the Holiday Inn Amity Shores. The GBS High School band consisted of approximately 100 members, and the band director, John Henley, chose 28 student musicians, including the band's section known as Henley's Honkers. Universal scheduled their involvement in mid-afternoons to prevent them from missing too much time in school. And then after the film, Universal made a contribution of $3,500 to the school and the band for their part in the film. Several other GBHS students were hired as stand-ins or doubles for the teenage actors to appear in the water scenes and to maintain the sailboats. So, yeah, pretty interesting facts and knowledge there. Okay, first attack on the kids is fixing to happen. Between Tina Wilcox and her boyfriend Eddie, which, not knowing, but when they filmed this, Eddie, or the guy who plays Eddie, could not swim, so they had to do some stuff to help make the scene work since he couldn't swim. I'm wondering if because it shows him kind of swimming, I wonder if he took some lessons when they found out he couldn't swim. I like how he names that boat after her. It's called Tina's Joy. Uh-oh. So the shark's dragging the boat, and Tina's still in it, and Eddie got knocked out of the boat. Here he comes. as Eddie's getting attacked, the shark has him and starts going towards the boat, and he grabs onto the boat. And in his desperation, trying to climb aboard the boat, you see how much of a death grip he has on this boat to where part of it breaks apart. Oof. And now Tina's all alone out there, and she, after seeing that, she goes into shock. Oof. Now an ambulance is responding to the diver who got scared down there. And Chief Brody's on his way to the office to turn in the truck and the keys. And he follows the ambulance. And this is where he finds out what's really going on. Well, he doesn't find out about the shark until a few minutes later, but he finds out that his son and other teenagers are out there in danger. As of right now, the kids are still having fun, and they usually end up in or at the lighthouse, but they decide to go past the lighthouse and keep going. So 3 sharks were built for the film. The first shark was the platform shark, which was also referred to as the luxurious shark. Special mechanical effects supervisor Robert Matty and Roy Arbogast used the same body mold for the shark in the first film. The sharks from the original film, after film had wrapped, had been left behind the Universal Studios lots behind the big sheds, and they'd just been left to rot there during the intervening years, and The only pieces that were salvageable from those were the chromoly tube frames. Okay, they're coming up on Tina's boat, and now there's no one there to be found. Oh, poor girl, she's shaking all over the place. She's pale, her eyes are red. Oof, she's scared out of her mind. Now they know. Shark.
That boat's gonna take you in. Where the hell are they? I'll send you guys up to start the valve. We can have to move it exactly. I want to give you that shit right. There. All right, I got it.
One of the teenagers got water in his boat, so he's trying to pump it out now while they're sailing to the next point. Oh, he wasn't pumping water out of his boat. He was pumping up the air in it, the pontoon part of the boat. Wow. Here comes the first big attack on the kids. Ooh. Oh, over they go. Look out. Somebody get Mike. Uh-oh. Here he comes. When they were shooting this part where they were trying to get Mike up in the boat after he'd been knocked unconscious and was in the water and the sharks coming for him, it took like several days and hours each day to get right, and they finally got it right. Now all the sailboats are messed up and they're just floating on this entire mess. Wow. Sea Witch. I like that. Well, fun's over. Now it's time to survive. So now Brody's made it to the lighthouse and realizes that they're not there. So he just keeps going until he finds them. So Robert Matty and Roy Arbogast's design for their shark, which was the same male body used, but brand new head, made by sculptor Chris Muller, which made use of an all-new mouth mechanism for Jaws 2. They had incorporated jowls to disguise the pinching of the shark's cheeks, which had proven to be a problem with the shark on the first film. The sharks for Jaws 2 were known as Bruce 2, in which we all know the sharks on the original film had been nicknamed Bruce after Steven Spielberg's lawyer, which I just recently learned about. But on set, the sharks for Jaws 2 were referred to as Fidel and Harold. The latter after David Brown's Beverly Hills lawyer. Other shark props used were a fin and a full shark, both of which could be pulled by boats. The Cable Junction, the island shown in the film's climax, was actually a floating barge covered with fiberglass rocks. So now the kids are just kind of sitting around, floating around on all the mess that the shark created of their sailboats. Oh, I see a mistake. That girl fell into the water, and now she's completely dry. And so did those two. Oh, I found a mistake. I can't believe that. Now the harbor patrol is out looking for the kids. And there's our first shot of Cable Junction. I can't remember how they actually shot this helicopter sequence. I don't remember if it was actually done on location or if they did it, or if they did like this part on location and then the other parts in like a tank or something. When I was watching the making of Jaws 2, they showed it and they talked about it, but I don't remember. This helicopter, it's got pontoons on it so it can, land both on land and on water. Most helicopters, when they crash in movies, it's usually just a big fireball, but in this one, they actually did the crash right after the shark got a hold of it, which is fixing to happen. Oh, excuse me. And, uh-oh, the shark's got a hold of the pontoon on the helicopter. Um, when this helicopter crashes, it shows how when it hits the water that the destruction of the tail rotor and the main rotor and there was actually an extended part of this sequence where the helicopter pilot is not dead, but as the helicopter overturns, it shows that the helicopter pilot is still alive underwater, and then the shark goes back after the helicopter pilot. But just this part was shown. The filmmakers, excuse me, left the underwater part out. Why, I don't know. I don't know if it was a creative decision or if it was a money decision or a time decision or what. I always hated this part. Oh my God, how traumatizing that would be for a child. There's that asshole Lynn Peterson. Yeah, asshole. So fuck off. She doesn't realize that both of her sons are out there along with her husband. So now Sean's out there on this part of the wreckage all by himself, and he's scared to catch that rope because he's so scared the shark's going to eat him, and he's already been traumatized enough by watching the girl who's trying to save him get eaten. Now they finally got him to catch the rope, so now they're pulling him back to them. So the first film was commended by, or for leaving the sharks to the imagination until 2/3 of the way through. And director Schwartz felt that they should show the shark as much as possible because of the dramatic first image coming out of the water in the film, or in the first film, could never be repeated. Schwartz believed that the reduction of the first film's Hitchcockian suspense was inevitable because the audience already knew what the shark looked like from the first film. Reviewers have since commented that there was no way that they were ever going to duplicate the original film's effectiveness, and that's true. I mean, that same thing that goes for like the first Halloween film or the first Alien movie and other movies of this particular horror suspense drama. I always like this part of the movie because they show this teenage girl. She's on another part of the wreckage that they're floating on, and she's kind of alone by herself, and she's praying. It's not a bad thing to do, especially in a situation like that. Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that, guys. the filmmakers said that they wanted to make the shark look more menacing and frightening, so they gave it this scarring look, uh, which we saw earlier in the film when the mom and the girl skiing were attacked by the shark and the boat exploded. And that's how the shark got its scarred up Two-Face, Scarface look. So Chief Brody found the boat that was still able to sail, and they're getting Mike to safety because he's hurt. And here we go. So Roy Scheider was later on commented as saying that, like the first film, shooting on the water, especially the open ocean, proved challenging. He said that they were always contending with tides, winds, surfs, jellyfish, sharks, waterspouts, and at times hurricane warnings. Wow. Um, After spending hours anchoring the sailboats, the wind would change and they'd be ready to shoot, and it'd be blowing the sails in the wrong direction. And the saltwater's corrosive effect damaged some of the equipment, including the metal parts inside the shark, and also like cameras and equipment like that as well. Fun fact for this film, Susan Ford, the daughter of U.S. President Gerald Ford, was hired to shoot publicity photographs for Jaws 2. Many of these appeared in Ray Loyne's Jaws 2 log, a book documenting the film's production, similar to what Carl Gottlieb had done for the first movie. So now they see a boat coming towards them, and the little boy Sean realizes it's a police boat and that it's his dad. So people are starting to get happy again. This film's production, it started production in let's see if I can find it here. principal photography production started in mid-June of 77 and went all the way to December 2nd, 1977. So they were filming some of these scenes out on the water during the winter months, and it got cold sometimes, and something the cast had to do to keep their breath from showing on really cold days is they had to put ice cubes in their mouth to prevent their breath from showing on camera. So principal photography on this film ended 3 days before Christmas in 1977, and it ended in Destin, Florida. So they shot in Martha's Vineyard, Florida, and also some at the Universal Studio lot. So the shark came up and tried to mess things up for Brody to rescue the kids, and now he's trying to get them over by using the winch, that machine that they dragged the bottom with, and he's using it again, and now it's pulling up the same thing that it pulled up the last time, which is going to become a very important item. It pulls up the power cord, power line, the underwater power line. Oh my gosh, lady, shut up. God, you're giving me a headache. So the shark keeps trying to mess things up for him, and it tore through some more of the wreckage, and now a lot of the teenagers ended up in the water, so they're trying to swim to the short distance to Cable Junction. And Brody just saw the power line, and now he's got an idea. He's like, I know how to kill this motherfucker. I think this is a better ending than, I mean, the first movie has a great ending, but I think this is a lot better. Brody has to go one-on-one with the shark a second time. After this, shark should learn, you don't mess with Chief Brody. He killed 2 of our own. Oh. He remembered they respond to sound, so he's trying to attract the shark by hitting the power line with an oar to attract the shark. She's in shock. She's shaking all over the place. Okay, here we go. Final showdown. Boom! Zap. Oh man, that's awesome. That is awesome. And bye-bye. And everyone is glad it's over. So he rescued Sean and the other girl. Now they're just paddling into Cable Junction to where they'll call for help. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. That is Jaws 2. I apologize for not talking a whole lot during this one. I have a lot of favorite scenes and sequences in this one that I just like to uh, watch. But I hope you'll uh, listen to this commentary, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Um, what are your thoughts and feelings on Jaws 2? Do you think it's a worthy sequel or not a worthy sequel? Um, I think it is. Now, Jaws 3 and 4, that's a different story. Um, I think they have elements in them that are okay, um, but as far as worthy sequels compared to the first one and this, no way. No way. So, yeah. I love the way they end the end credits on this film. Brilliant. Well, like I said, I hope you all have enjoyed the Jaws 2 commentary. Leave me some comments And be sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when I have new stuff posted. Do you guys, would you guys like to hear some more movie commentaries from me? If so, let me know. I've got some more that I plan to do. So pretty soon, as soon as I get this uploaded, I'm going to do my movie review for this film, Jaws 2. So you'll get to see my grade and the negatives and positives I have to say about it. So, but other than that, that's it. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I will see you again in the next video. Till then, so long.